I understand why the audience wasn't there. I mean, it is a really dark show, but I still can't wrap my head around, you know, Dr. Horrible being popular enough to put out a DVD that makes it into the top 10, but you know, but a regular TV show on Fox can't get into the can't get more viewers than Smallville.
There needed to be more support from the studio in terms of helping fans show people the show. I think, you know, if they'd aired it during the summer or aired it more during the summer, given the show an actual chance. I keep going back. A lot of the time when shows get canceled, I keep going back to the Cheers analogy. Cheers, the first season of Cheers, got some of the worst ratings, and you know the cast constantly joke about the fact that had it been today, they would have been canceled after like 4 episodes if they made it that long. But the network really believed in the show. Well, they played it like crazy during the summer, and Cheers went on to be one of the biggest shows in television history. And I think that if a network like Fox believes in a show, or you know, grants a show a second season or something like that, then you know they have a responsibility to the fans and to try and get to their advertisers in the end, to try to get new people into it. And the only way to do that is to really play it.
Well, and another good point is that I don't think people really knew what to expect from the show. You know, it's someone who hadn't seen it from the beginning. They'd be pretty confused, you know, trying to come into it, because it was marketed really strange, like as though it was an action show. You know, the posters had Eliza Dushku, you know, with a gun, or lit like she's a robot in Minority Report, and it you know, they never really campaigns. It really didn't play up, you know, that it was a dark morality tale.
Yeah.
And I think that might have scared some people off too, or at least confused people when they first came to it.
I think so, and I mean, again, this feels in a lot of ways that it would have been better off on a network like HBO, where you can do the darker stuff and people are willing to accept a lot more darkness from their productions. They're not as willing to accept it in a you know, network environment like that, like Fox or ABC or NBC or CBS. I think that it's something, you know, it's one of those things people kept talking about. Well, maybe it'll go to Sci-Fi. Maybe Sci-Fi will take it. Maybe Sci-Fi will take it. And the president of Sci-Fi was like, "We'd love to work with Joss Whedon on a show. We don't have the budget for Dollhouse."
Yeah.
And that becomes a really big problem. It's this type of show requires a lot of money, and the smaller networks can't afford it.
And to their credit, every dollar was on screen. I mean, the cast was top notch.
The cast was incredible.
The sets were pretty amazing.
Yeah.
They shot on location a lot, or at least it looks like they did.
They seem to have a lot of exterior stuff. The Dollhouse, I mean, the Dollhouse itself cost Fox an arm and a leg to build. So you got to give them credit on the fact, like, they decided, all right, we're not going to shoot a pilot the way we normally do, so we can test it out. We trust you. We're going to build this giant dollhouse for you and spend the money on that instead. So you got to give them some credit on that. Again, I think, you know, the failings are all there. The possibility for an incredible show is there too, and I think that it's a tragedy of television of today that the show never really panned out.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite episode?
Belonging.
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 There she is, the woman of the hour.
What about you?
I liked Man on the Street, the one Joss Whedon wrote and directed in the first season with Patton Oswalt.
You know, thinking about the look on her face when she saw this place, and I told her it was ours. Sanitation truck sideswiped her car 3 blocks from here. And I heard the impact, and they said it was quick. I guess that, you know, they always have to say that, right? But she never got to see this house.
It was really sweet, and it was really touching, and you know, great acting, great writing. and it had these really interesting little interstitials. Every act began and ended with like there was a reporter doing out on the street, getting doing an expose on the Dollhouse, getting people's opinions.
But what's interesting about this urban legend is the wide spectrum of reactions we encountered from everyday Angelenos to the very idea of a dollhouse.
When it was the first episode that hooked me, because it played with all those levels of, like, you know, well, is what Patton Oswalt doing is wrong, or, you know, it's actually kind of sweet, or is what, you know, is it right, is it wrong, is it right, and, you know, and then to cap it off with all these people on the street who can't even agree on it, it just it hooked me, because it was a question that I couldn't even answer. So it was, I was along for the ride. I wanted to see how far they were willing to take this.
One thing to add to this is Joss Whedon has said that after the last episode of Dollhouse will air, we will know exactly where he'll be going afterwards. So that's always out.
Where do you hope he goes?
I kind of hope that he does more internet-based stuff. I think that it'd be really cool if he teamed up with something like Vimeo or something like that to start, or YouTube, but, you know, or any, you know, online site, or started his own of creating internet video, you know, like some really good quality television for the internet type stuff.
He's one of the few people that could make that happen. I mean, you know, he's already proven he can do it with Dr. Horrible, and if he were to do it with something a little more serious, or not even serious. I mean, it can still be funny, but just bigger.
No, I mean, like, it's kind of one of those things. I'd love to see him team up with a company like Vimeo or something like that.
Yeah.
And then just sort of work with them on creating more original content.
Mm-hmm. And, well, I like the point you brought up last time I was talking to you, where Cabin in the Woods may change everything.
That's true. Sorry, we kind of have to talk about that one just really briefly. Cabin in the Woods is Joss Whedon's horror movie that should be coming out in the next little while. Mm-hmm. It could very well be a game changer for him, because if it becomes a really successful movie, we could see Joss Whedon getting money to do, you know, movies and franchises and that type of stuff. Yeah. He joked online about wanting to buy the Terminator.
Hey, I wouldn't mind. Serenity proved he's a great action director. Yeah.
So, all right. So that wraps up the episode. We've finished our deconstruction. We've looked just a little bit ahead. And as I say, you know, please feel free to give us some comments. You can check out thegeekside.net. We will be around for more next week and the weeks to come, hopefully. Yeah?
Definitely.
All right. Until we meet again, keep reading.